how to make no contact more strategic and powerful. So she pulled away, right? And maybe she stopped texting back, maybe she ended things, maybe she gave you the classic "I need space" speech, or "I see you as a friend," and you did what every guy does. You Googled how to get her back, how to make her attracted again. And the first piece of advice you probably saw was go no contact for 30 days. Block her number, don't answer her calls, disappear completely. And you thought, okay, this makes sense. I'll show her what it's like without me. I'll make her regret it. Well, here's the problem. No contact is probably the most misunderstood piece of advice in all of dating. And when you do it wrong, which most guys do, it doesn't make her miss you. It confirms exactly what she suspected, that you're hurt, that you're angry, that you're still emotionally hooked on her. So in this video, I'm gonna show you why the traditional no contact often backfires, and then I'm gonna give you something even better, something that I call strategic no contact. It's a psychological approach that doesn't just give her space, it makes her question everything she thought she knew about you. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and I want to tell you about my client Mateo. Mateo is a smart guy, runs his own business, makes pretty good money. He'd been dating this woman for about 3 months when she dropped the bomb. "I just don't think I'm ready for something serious right now," which we all know translates to "with you." But Mateo does his research and he finds all these articles about the no contact rule, 30 days of complete silence. That seems to be the magic formula apparently from everybody on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. So the day after she tells him that she needs space, Mateo goes completely dark. I'm talking like full nuclear silence. He blocks her on Instagram. He unfriends her on Facebook. He doesn't respond when she texts him a couple days later asking if everything's okay. And in his mind, he thinks he's being strategic. He's showing her like, this is what you wanted, this is what you got. But here's what she's actually thinking. Wow, he's really butthurt about this. I knew he was more into me than I was into him, but man, this is really affecting him personally. At least now I know I made the right call. See, Mateo thought he was playing it cool, but his timing gave everything away. A lot of guys don't realize this. She says she needs space on Tuesday, and by Wednesday, he's got her blocked on every platform like she cheated on him with his best friend. Well, that's not mysterious. That's not powerful. That's not strategic. That's like throwing a temper tantrum. And women can see right through it. They know the no contact rule, which is why if you just go no contact and you think it's doing anything, it's not. So again, in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly why the traditional no contact often backfires, and I'm gonna give you this smarter way of doing it, this approach that actually works. Again, I call it smart no contact, I call it the modified blackout, and the difference between the two isn't about how long you disappear, it's about what she thinks is happening in your head. Okay, I just want to write that down real quick because it's all about what she's thinking. Because that is the most important part of no contact. Because if she's not thinking the right things when she's away from you, it defeats the whole purpose, all right? So why traditional no contact backfires? Let's start with the standard no contact advice and why it fails so often. Well, most guys hear go no contact and they translate it to block her, ignore her, punish her with silence. And here's the first problem. It looks like a reaction. And if you watched any of my videos, you know that, I put out one recently, the power of not reacting. When you react to a woman, she immediately knows she's got all the power. When you don't react to her, that's when she starts questioning things. So when you go strictly no contact immediately after she pulls back or gives you the friend zone speech or whatever, she doesn't think, wow, he must be moving on. She thinks, wow, I really hurt this guy, or he's angry, or he's being petty. And you know what that does? It gives her certainty. She can tick a box off in her head now that says, yup, he's upset, he's still hung up on me, and now it makes it easier for her to move on because she's got that clarity, okay? you're upset, you really liked her, I ended it, I can move on. Because now here's something that I teach all the time. Certainty kills attraction, okay? This is really important, and it's part of the backbone of this method that we're gonna be going over in this video, this more strategic idea of no contact. Well, attraction lives in the gray area, in the I don't know what he's thinking zone. But when you go scorched earth the day after she asks you for space, there's no gray area. She knows exactly what you're feeling. You might think you're playing some game, but like she sees the exact move you're making. And if a woman sees the move you're making, it comes across like you're playing a game, and it does not work. And that's the opposite of what actually creates attraction or obsession. So here's the second problem with this traditional no contact. It gives her control. Think about it. She knows that you're ignoring her out of emotion, which means she still has all the power. She's thinking, he's so into me that he can't even handle talking to me anymore. That's not a man who like moved on, who's got emotional autonomy. That's not a man who has options, right? That's a man who's like nursing his wounds in a corner. And there's a third problem with it. It backfires in person if you can't avoid her, okay? A lot of guys that try no contact, they have to see the woman for a reason. And if you're trying to do this like strict no contact, it's like, what if you work with her together? A lot of my clients work with the woman, or they see her in a shared social circle. What if you run into her at a party randomly, you know, blatantly ignoring her or awkwardly like avoiding eye contact? That makes you look immature and weak and bitter and emotionally unstable. None of that is attractive. And here's the final nail in the coffin. The reset fails. So let's say that you manage to do 30 days of no contact. You reach out, she responds, and then what happens? If you immediately fall back into the same needy, nice guy behavior that got you the friend zone speech to begin with, and she reaches out and you try to set up a date real quick, and now you're texting her too much and you're seeking reassurance, she realizes that the silence was just a tactic. Nothing actually changed. You're not any more attractive than the guy that she friend zoned. I see this all the time when guys enter the Untamed Man community of mine, and they're posting questions and they do this blackout and they're all excited that they're not talking to her. And then the minute she reaches out and they go out with her, they transform right back into the person she broke up with. Well, you just told her in that moment, even if she didn't know you were playing a game, if you immediately go back and give her all the attention and validation that you were giving her, immediately once she, that blackout ends, well, she knows, oh, okay, he was playing a game. And she loses even more respect for you, because for a month straight now, she realized you were just sitting there waiting to text her again. So let's talk about strategic no contact. It's a subdued version of no contact with one critical difference. The goal isn't to punish her with silence. The goal is to demonstrate that she no longer has a grip on your emotions, okay? This is key. The goal is more to reset the power dynamic and show her she's losing control. Because, here's a piece of advice. We all have egos, and when somebody likes us, it feels good. And even if we decide we don't like them, we still like knowing that they're an option. We like knowing that they're there if we want them. We like having them boost our ego and validate us and make us feel good about ourselves. And women are that way. And when she ends things, she likes knowing like, oh, I've got him. And here's what most guys don't understand. When a woman pulls away, what she's really looking for is evidence that you're emotionally hooked, that she's got you, right? She wants you to chase. She wants to see if you'll spiral. Now, I am not saying women intentionally do this. Let me be clear. She's not going, I wanna punish this guy. They're not on a conscious level doing this. It's human nature. It's almost like if you buy a stock and then you sell the stock, you want it to go down because you want to be like, yeah, I made a good move, right? And that's kind of what she wants. She wants to know that she made the right move. She wants confirmation that she has power over your emotional state, which tells her like, okay, I made the right move. Because when that happens, her ego can go, I still have him if I want him, all right? That's really what this comes down to. He's there as my backup plan if I change my mind. And traditional no contact, it still gives her that confirmation, just in a very different form. Instead of chasing her, you're sulking. Instead of spiraling, you're hiding. But it's still a reaction. Strategic contact is different. Strategic contact changes the dynamic from I'm hurt to I'm busy and indifferent, okay? So it goes from I'm hurt to busy and indifferent. That's the mentality. You're changing the frame from he's hurt to he's busy and indifferent. I'm busy and indifferent. And that's what messes with her head, because now she can't put you in that box. She's not thinking he's angry. She's thinking, wait, is he over me already? Did he meet someone else? Was there already someone else? Why isn't he chasing me like other guys do when this happens? That's the mental loop that you want to create, not certainty, mystery. All right, so let me give you the actual playbook. So there's 4 principles to this strategic contact that make it work. Principle number 1 is fade into it. So principle 1 is fade into it. Fade into the no contact, and this is huge. Do not start the blackout immediately after a bad event, right? So if she breaks up with you on a Tuesday, don't disappear on Wednesday. Act normal for a few days if you happen to still be in contact with her, or talk to her, or you see her somewhere. Maybe even respond to her if she reaches out. A lot of times when a woman gives you that speech, depending on the nature of how long you guys been dating, she's gonna check up on you. She's gonna like feel you out to see, what's going through your mind. And if she does, respond, but then slowly fade into it. Take a little longer to respond, keep things shorter until eventually you're just not around anymore. This is critical because it throws her off the scent. She can't attribute your silence to anger or hurt because you seemed fine at first. So why did you pull away? Well, that question, that's what keeps her up at night wondering. That's the space that you have to leave open if you want a second chance. Now, do you always need to go for the second chance? Sometimes it's better to walk away. Sometimes it's better to use this no contact as a chance to reset yourself, regain clarity of the type of woman you want. But sometimes you're gonna go after her again, and if that's the case, you may as well do it right. So principle number 2 is what I call polite indifference. So polite indifference, this is the key difference between traditional no contact and this strategic type of contact. So if you see her, or if she contacts you, you don't ignore her. You're not rude. You treat her with the same energy that you would, let's say, a coworker that you have zero romantic interest in, right? That sort of, that coworker that you're not even friends with them, but you're polite to them. You make small talk, but you end it because you have better things to do, right? Friendly, short, uninvested, polite, but indifferent. So think about how you'd interact with the random guy in accounting who you barely know. Hey, how's it going? Cool, good to see you. And then you walk away. That's it. Here's the rule. You're not rude, you're just clearly preoccupied with more important things. This drives women way crazier than you ignoring her, because if you're ignoring her, again, she knows, she's like, oh, he's ignoring me because he's butthurt. And what is powerful about this is it's a little confusing because you're being pleasant. So she can't accuse you of being angry, but you're also clearly not that interested in talking to her. And that creates the dissonance in her mind. That's what makes her brain spin a little bit. Principle number 3 is no initiation. So, I mean, this obviously is the hallmark of no contact, is you don't contact her, right? Meaning you don't reach out first, and this really is non-negotiable. You stop reaching out entirely. This means no texts, no calls, no accidental likes on her Instagram, no checking her stories. You stop feeding the dynamic where you're the one chasing. Because every time that you initiate contact, you're telling her, hey, I'm still here. I'm still thinking about you. I'm still available. And that kills the vacuum. So what do I mean by vacuum? Well, I call it the validation vacuum. See, women are used to getting a certain amount of attention from men, especially from men who they know like them. And when that attention suddenly disappears, she notices. And if she can't explain why it disappeared, that's when she starts to reach out to fill the vacuum, to figure out what happened. Principle number 4 is end interactions first. So again, she's probably gonna reach out. And if she reaches out to you, don't rush to reply, respond eventually, keep it brief, polite indifference. But most importantly, be the one to end the conversation. This is the opposite of what needy guys do. Needy guys drag conversations out. They're terrified of this one chance they have of possibly ever talking to her again ending because they don't know if she'll ever get another chance. But you end it. Hey, I gotta run, talk soon. Another thing that I tell clients when they're unsure, I go, end with a period, not a question mark, okay? So what does that mean? It means that you don't end it in a way of like, what have you been up to? If she says, how you been? Doing good. You go, hope all is well. You don't say, how are you? Or I hope you're doing well. You go, hope all is well, period, right? Because you're not trying to get her to reply. Anytime that you have a question mark, now it's like you're inviting her to reply. You want to just, a simple thing is put the period at the ending. That's it. So what this signals is, I'm not desperate for your attention again. I have things going on. My neediness that you might have experienced, it's gone. And again, that's when she starts wondering, what changed? So again, the more invested a woman was in you initially, the more powerful this is going to be. So some clients come to me and they went on 2 dates with a girl and she says, I don't feel it. Well, it's a lot harder for that girl to be noticing that you're doing no contact, right? Because she doesn't have much investment in you. But if it's somebody that you've dated for a while, somebody that maybe you were in the friend zone with, you made your move and she put you back in the friend zone, in those kind of situations where there's investment, this is super, super, super powerful. Let me break down why this works psychologically, because this is the part that a lot of guys don't understand. The difference between no contact and strategic contact isn't about the actions that you're taking. It's about what she believes is happening in your head. With strict no contact, she's pretty sure you're angry at her. She ticks the box. Again, we keep bringing this up because it's really important. She understands the situation. Women are not dumb. They know that people do this thing called no contact. And when you do that, she knows what you're doing and it makes it very easy for her to move on. But with what I'm telling you to do, she can't attribute your behavior to anger because you're being pleasant with her. You're just distant, a little cold, but not cold, just distant. And that creates what I call a mental loop. Her brain can't close the loop. She starts asking herself, why isn't he chasing me? Did he meet someone else, right? Is he already over me? Was I wrong about how much he liked me? These questions keep her thinking about you. I teach something called the scrambler, and I'll put a link to that below where you can watch the video. It's a technique for getting a woman chasing you again, for making her invested in you, to sort of change the dynamic. And one of the core features of the scrambler is that it's all under the radar, meaning everything that you're doing is giving her a gut feeling that something changed. If you've ever been in a situation where maybe you had a girl and she really liked you, but then all of a sudden you notice these small things that started adding up, and all of a sudden you're questioning, wait a minute, I thought she was like super into me, but now that's what the scrambler does. Again, you can watch that video below, but it makes her wonder if she made a mistake, and it slowly is reversing that power dynamic. And here's the irony. She's now feeling that same uncertainty that you were feeling when she started pulling away. Remember that? You probably sensed it in the pit of your stomach before she actually ended things officially. Well, now you flip that script. So let me give you a specific tactic that demonstrates this perfectly. I call it the phone call trick. So if she calls you, answer the phone cheerfully, right? I know she may not call, maybe she'll text, and I'll tell you what to do there. But a lot of times she might call, and talk to her for about a minute. Be warm, be friendly, and then say, hey, I'm actually in the middle of something. Let me call you right back. And then don't call her back. So here's what happens in her head. First, she feels relief because you answered the phone, you're not mad, he was friendly. But as the hours pass now and you haven't called her back yet, her brain starts spinning like, wait, what's more important than calling me back? We haven't talked, and I called him, and like, I thought he was gonna be anxious to talk to me, and like, is he with someone, right? Did he forget about me already that quickly? Like, that generates that obsession in her. That's what resparks the attraction. Not silence that screams, I'm hurt, but mystery that whispers, I moved on. So you can do this, like I said, with text too. One of the best ways to do it, like let's just say at 5 o'clock, she texts you something, how's your day going, whatever. You wait till about 11 p.m. at night, just when you're about to go to sleep, and you respond with, oh, hey, just saw this, about to hit the sack, I'll hit you up tomorrow. And then don't hit her back up. Now, all day tomorrow, she's like, she won't notice at first, but at some point in the day, she's gonna go, oh man, he didn't respond. Wow, what's going on? Now, I do want to be real with you for a second, because there's a deeper reason that this type of no contact works. And it's not just about tactics though. The ultimate goal of this blackout isn't to manipulate her into coming back. It's to give her time to forget the needy version of you that she lost attraction to. Think about it. If she pulled away, there's probably a good chance that you made a lot of the mistakes I talk about. Maybe you started over-explaining yourself. You started apologizing for things. Maybe you confessed your feelings, hoping that'll bring her back. Maybe you sent her a gift or flowers. You basically became predictable, and she sensed now that your entire emotional world is revolving around her feeling, and she loses respect for you when that happens. The blackout gives you time to actually become the man she was initially attracted to again. Not to pretend to be him, to actually be him. A guy with his own life, his own mission, his own emotional core. I had this client once, and Dave and his girlfriend breaks up with him, and he's desperate to get her back. So he does the blackout. But instead of just sitting around waiting for her to reach out, which most guys do, he actually used the time. He started hitting the gym again. He focused on work. He began going out with friends and building a new social scene. He started dating other women, and he wasn't doing any of this to make her jealous, but he did it because he realized that he'd been putting all his eggs in one basket. So a few weeks later, she reaches out, they meet up, and she immediately is confused because this isn't the same Dave. This isn't the same guy. The needy energy's gone. The seeking her approval is gone. The desperate, please take me back vibe. He wasn't saying it, but he was giving off that vibe, and women are very socially intelligent to pick up on it. None of that was anywhere to be found. Now he's calm, he's centered, he's actually having fun. And that's what reignites her attraction, not the silence, the transformation. So yes, use strategic no contact, but don't use the time to just wait. Use it to actually become the man that she will be attracted to when she sees you again. So look, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. It's not about how long you disappear, it's about what she thinks is happening in your head while you're gone. Traditional no contact screams, I'm hurt, I'm angry, I can't handle this. Smart contact whispers, I'm busy, I'm moving on, I might already be over you. And that creates the vacuum. That creates the tension, the mystery, and that's what makes her reach out, wondering what's going on. Because I know that when you're in the thick of no contact, it's really hard to make the right decision. Your brain is very often scrambled and you're acting on impulse. So what I did is I created a complete no contact strategy guide that you can download below. It's got day-by-day instructions for what to do, what to text, how to respond when she texts. If she sends you something like, I miss you, how do you reply to that? How do you ease back into the contact? It's got a daily planner to keep you from messing up. It's got all the commandments, all the rules that you need to be following during this time. It's got word for word ways of how to reinitiate without giving away all this power that you had been building up during this time. It's basically the Bible of doing strategic no contact, and you can download it at the link in the description below. Now, I've been teaching this stuff for over 16 years, and what I've learned is that getting her back isn't really about tactics. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to chase in the first place. The kind of man who has emotional autonomy, who doesn't let her behavior flip his mood like a light switch, who has a strong frame, who's not afraid to walk away. And if you want to learn how to actually become that guy, not just pretend to be him for 30 days, I have a free class that breaks down the entire system. It's called the 3 Steps to Status, Value, and Social Charisma. And inside this class, I'll show you the hidden mindset shifts that flip the script instantly, how to develop natural authority in any social setting, how to recognize and pass her tests, and why most men are repelling women without even realizing it. If you've ever felt like you were doing everything right, but you still got treated like a second option, this is what you've been missing. There's a link in the description below. There's a couple classes to choose from. You can register. I'll see you in the class. And as always, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, leave a comment. Tell me which of these principles you're going to use first, and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Now,